tonight, incredible new video of what Ukraine and Russia both say was a massive Ukrainian strike on Crimea. You were looking at attack drones, and they're racing towards a Russian ship that was in the sea off Crimea. The drones explode on impact. That's the massive fireball then that you see. Ukrainians say that ship was sunk. The massive show of force coming amid intense turmoil, though, behind the scenes in Ukraine. Turmoil that could change the course of the war and of history. There's been a week of cloak and dagger threats, backdoor negotiations. We understand that President Zelensky, after all this, has told the general leading the war for Ukraine that he's fired. Valery Zaluzhny, credited with saving Kyiv from Putin in those first days of the war. He is a beloved figure in Ukraine. So this move does not come lightly, and it could signal something very significant. And Zaluzhny is not just going quietly. We understand he would not resign, and now in a CNN op-ed, he is saying Ukraine doesn't have the manpower to defeat Russia. Fred Pleitgen begins our coverage out front tonight in Kyiv. And Fred, this is an incredible moment. You have been there in Kyiv as this, cloak and dagger, as I've been describing. But all this is going on. What more are you learning?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It is certainly a critical moment right now in Kyiv, and all this has been going on behind the scenes really since Monday. That's the first time that we heard that there was this disagreement between Valery Zaluzhny, the top general, and Volodymyr Zelensky, where there was a meeting apparently between these two men, where Zelensky told Zaluzhny that he was going to fire him. Now, apparently he offered him a different position, possibly an ambassadorship in some European country. Really unclear whether or not that's really the case. But we do know that apparently Valery Zaluzhny said he would decline that offer, and Zelensky told him, well, he's still going to fire him. Now, since then, all of political Kyiv has been waiting for some sort of decree from the Ukrainian president saying whether or not he was really going to fire General Valery Zaluzhny, and of course also who the possible successor could be. And still there has not been any sort of decree that's been issued by Zelensky. So as you can imagine, there's a lot of speculation going on here at what is, you're absolutely right, an extremely critical moment for the Ukrainians on the battlefield, Aaron.
And Fred, I mean, look, this is a huge task for Zelensky. He knows some of the realities here. Zaluzhny is incredibly popular. Ukrainians have an incredible amount of faith in him. I mean, if we look at the poll numbers in December, 88% say they trust Zaluzhny, 62% say they trust Zelensky. Zelensky knows this. So getting to a point where you have to fire the guy, that says so much on its own. I mean, this is a huge gamble for Zelensky.
I think it certainly is. And one of the things that we're also seeing here is that the Russians are already trying to capitalize on this. In fact, the Kremlin spokesman, Dmitry Peskov, he came out and he said, look, all of this shows that things aren't going well for the Ukrainians on the battlefield, that their counteroffensive failed, and now that there's all these problems between the civilian and the military leadership. So they're already trying to capitalize on it as well. I think one of the big things that we're going to look for in the next hours, really, is who the possible successor could be if and when Valery Zaluzhny gets fired. Now, there's two people who are very much, or have been handled as very much top candidates for them. One of them is Alexander Syrsky, who's currently the head of the Ukrainian land forces. He's also someone who really made a name for himself in the early stages of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, also defending Kyiv. And then there's Kyrylo Budanov, who's the head of the military intelligence service. And you know those pictures that you were showing at the beginning of that daring raid against that Russian ship? That was Budanov's agency, Aaron.
Interesting. And that coming now, perhaps very telling. Fred, thank you very much.